Fight every battle, everywhere, always, in your mind. Everyone is your enemy. Everyone is your friend. Every possible series of events is happening all at once. Live that way, and nothing will surprise you. Everything that happens will be something that you've seen before.
Remember this. All your victories are defined by your struggles. Temporary greatness is earned every time you don't quit.
Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Now, do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice.
When you make it, you'll realize that you always had it in you. When you accomplish everything that you set out to accomplish, the financial freedom, the lifestyle, the strong network, you'll look back on these days and smile, because if only you knew where you'd end up, the sleepless nights wondering if you'll make it, you would have been laughing too.
Muhammad Ali said, I hated every one of those training sessions, but I said to myself, don't give up. He said, I didn't want to do those, but I wanted to be heavyweight champion of the world. The most successful entrepreneurs, creatives, are people who capitalized on the potential they had.
Everything that hurts you, find a way to overcome it. Everything that you feel is difficult for you, find a way to still do it. As long as you can do the things, stop listening to the mind.
But if you want to see if you're a brave person, what they call the 4 o'clock in the morning courage, wait when things go completely to pieces, when things are the worst, when your very best deal falls apart and your rent is late and you're tired and you're sick and everybody is mad at you and your car doesn't work, then it's the person that picks themselves up and says, nothing is going to stop me. You know, the best quality in the world that you can develop, and I give it to you because I made it my life's habit to develop this quality. I hope I've got it, I don't know for sure. But the quality is to develop the quality of being unstoppable. Develop the quality of being unstoppable. Say in yourself that no matter what life throws at me, it'll never stop me. No matter how rough it gets, I will never quit. And nothing will ever stop me. Make the decision that you can be tired, you can be worn out, but nothing is ever going to stop you. That's a wonderful decision. Because then no matter what life throws at you, you pick yourself up. And you say, okay, give it, give it your best shot, as Fonzie says. Nothing is going to stop you. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. It's the basis of self-esteem.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it?
I think so.
Most people can't. Most people don't even know it's out there, but it is. It's there.
Betray your destiny and see how long it takes you to be drowning in a storm. It'll happen immediately, and of course it will, because what's calling you to be your best is exactly the thing that's pushing you forward to manifest yourself most fully in the world. It's what you need. You run away from that, the boat's going to start to rock very, very quickly.
The unfulfilled potential is the story of most people's lives.
It is. It is. And it could have been the story of mine. And I tell a lot of people go, what's your biggest fear in life? And my biggest fear, honestly, was let's say this. Let's say I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So this is play a game with me. Let's say you're God, and we have a big fucking long line of people, and I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now, and you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line, and you rip it down. And I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name, I see all this shit, and God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. And I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this shit. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be.
One word. Persistence. Nothing in this world can take the place of good old persistence. Talent won't. Nothing's more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius won't. Unrecognized genius is practically a cliche. Education won't. Why, the world is full of educated fools. Persistence and determination alone are all powerful.
Do you have the kind of patience required to get what you're looking for? Because your mind might be running 1,000,000 miles an hour, but the world will not always operate on your level. See, there's a skill in communicating who you are to other people, and it's a freaking hard thing to do. Most people define themselves by very simple things because they don't want to go down the rabbit hole of their own mind. But you have a much greater responsibility to never let go of who you are, but communicate that to all different kinds of people.
You only get confidence by doing certain things over and over again that build a solid foundation within your own mind that you can do whatever you need to do, that you have what it takes to be successful. Self-doubt is the great paralyzer of all activity. We all have self-doubt. And the way we overcome that self-doubt is by doing the things that we would normally back away from. As I say, continue to move forward. Self-confidence begets great achievement. You cannot imagine a successful person with lacking self-confidence. If you persist until you succeed at achieving a goal that is important to you, and you complete it like a degree in school, or you wrap up a sale, or you make a career successful, you plug into your subconscious mind a success pattern. And then the subconscious mind, running on the basis of inertia, attempts to adjust your words, actions, and feelings to duplicate that success pattern. And that's why they say nothing succeeds like success.
Are my actions today undeniable proof that I deserve the life I dream about, or just empty promises?
When you think about becoming stronger, becoming better, becoming whole, it's tempting to imagine a grand transformation, a single moment where everything changes, where the weight is lifted, the struggle ends, and you finally arrive at the version of yourself you've always dreamed of. But life doesn't work like that. Change doesn't work like that. The truth is, the person you're meant to be is built in the quiet, not in the sweeping gestures or the dramatic breakthroughs, but in the small, unremarkable steps you take every day. That's how strength is built. Not all at once, but gradually, piece by piece, moment by moment. Every small decision you make, every time you choose discipline over comfort, effort over ease, courage over fear, you're shaping yourself. You're adding to the foundation of who you are, brick by brick. And at first, it might not look like much. It might not feel like you're getting anywhere. But one day, you'll look back and you'll realize that every small step was part of something bigger. You don't become strong by lifting the heaviest weight all at once. You become strong by showing up day after day, lifting what you can, and gradually growing into the person who can lift more. You don't become wise by reading 1,000 books in a single sitting. You become wise by seeking knowledge, one page at a time, reflecting on it, letting it shape the way you see the world. Life is a collection of moments, and the moments that matter most often don't feel monumental when they're happening. They're the mornings you choose to get out of bed, even when you don't feel like it. The times you choose to say no to the things that don't serve you and yes to the things that do. The times you forgive yourself for falling short and try again anyway. There's a quiet poetry to that, isn't there? To the idea that the biggest changes in your life will come from the smallest moments. But here's where it gets philosophical. Why do the small things matter so much? Why does the slow, incremental path lead to transformation? It's because those small actions are where your character is formed. They're where you prove to yourself over and over again who you are and what you stand for. You see, every decision you make, no matter how small, is a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose to act in alignment with your values, you're casting a vote for your future self. And every time you stray from that path, you're casting a vote for someone else. There's a Japanese concept called Kaizen. It's the philosophy of continuous improvement, small incremental changes that lead to significant results over time. It's the idea that you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to fix everything at once. You just need to be 1% better today than you were yesterday. Because 1% better every day doesn't just add up. It compounds. It creates momentum. It turns into something far greater than the sum of its parts. But here's the catch. The process is slow. So slow that it's easy to doubt it. Easy to get frustrated. Easy to think, this isn't working. I'm not changing. I'm not getting anywhere. And that's when most people give up. Not because they can't do it, but because they've convinced themselves that it's not worth it. So how do you keep going? How do you stay committed to the small, quiet work of becoming who you're meant to be? You remind yourself that it's not about perfection. It's not about the result. It's about the process. It's about the kind of person you're becoming. Day by day, decision by decision. There's a beauty in that, isn't there?
You have to learn to do things you hate in order to do the things you love. No payoffs come without sacrifice. Imagine how much further you'd be if you did things even when you didn't feel like doing them. People think there's some complex formula to winning, when the most basic one is do what you said you were going to do before it became inconvenient.
Practice, 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 and do not accept failure. Maybe it shouldn't be repetition. Maybe the answer should be persistence. Because we all repeat something, but very few of us really will persist. Get out there. Do what you want to. Do not accept no.
No matter how you travel, whether be in coach or first class, turbulence comes to us all. There is no one exempt from trials. It may seem like others have done it better than you. Some are handling it better than you. The debt that has to be paid in order for you to have the confidence built on experience means you got to go through something. When you go through it, you become more, and you serve more. You become more so you can serve more. You do more so you can impact more. It doesn't matter how you travel, that's temporary. It doesn't matter what pace you travel at, you just have to put one foot in front of the other and keep going. When it feels like you're not making progress, understand that you are progressing. It doesn't matter what their pace looks like. Slow and steady wins the course.
If you love what you do and it's making you happy, all the hard work and perseverance will pay off. I once had a guidance counselor tell me that I shouldn't play basketball, that it would never amount to anything for me. His negativity towards me made me stronger. You can't stop people from trying to limit your dreams, but you can stop it from becoming a reality.
Your dreams are up to you.
The more you value comfort, the less you value progress. Discomfort is a necessity for fulfillment. We are made to face challenges, to set goals and conquer them, and to build great things. Realize that the resistance in your mind is the only thing that makes things hard. So embrace the difficulty, because that's where you'll find your true purpose.
I can't do that. The human brain cannot comprehend the negative. It is incapable. Yes, it's true. Can't tell the human brain not to do something, right? And so what happens is we very often reinforce things when we put things in the negatives. It's the same thing for you. If you focus on the obstacles, all you will see is obstacles. If you focus on the path through the trees, all you will see is path through the trees.
I feel like where there's test, there's growth, right? You can't grow without test, right? So we don't resist them. We don't run from them. We don't retreat. We fight, we navigate, and we find a way through it in order for us to grow and become the individuals that we feel we're destined to become.
That one step after the other, I will get to wherever I'm supposed to be. And that's what your mindset has to be. I am going to get there. Because that destination that is ahead of you is your destiny. It is where you've been GPS to. It is where you've been roadmapped to. You have a destiny. And the only way to get to that and manifest it is to believe when it doesn't seem to make sense.
Procrastinating is a form of fear, and it is difficult to acknowledge fear. But the truth is that you cannot create anything of value without both self-doubt and self-belief. Without self-doubt, you become complacent. Without self-belief, you cannot succeed.
The magic you're looking for in life is in the work you're avoiding. There's something that you know you should be doing, whether it be working on yourself, or losing weight, writing something, working on your career. The magic you're looking for in life is in the work you're avoiding. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody wants success. You got to work at it. If you really want to be successful, you have to work at it.
You don't need visuals. You need to have that internal clock that says, get up. You need to have that internal alarm that keeps telling you, don't stop, don't quit, don't keep hitting snooze, go after it. And after you go after it, you'll find that it's been waiting just for you. Your destiny awaits you. No one else can rob you of it. No one else can take it from you. If you lose absolutely everything, you still have you. If you have breath, you can win. If you can get up again, you can win. If you can not throw in the towel, you can win. If you can get up and fight one more round, you can win. You see, that's what you're here for. To find out what is your destiny. And then you chase it down and introduce yourself to it. You are mine, and I am yours. Destined.
True change is actually not behavior change, it's not results change, it's not process change, it's identity change. And the way to being something or becoming someone is through doing something. So every time you sit down to write, every time you practice that habit, you are being a writer. Every time you play a sport, you're being an athlete. Every time you practice painting or music or whatever, you are being an artist. And habits are not only the method through which we achieve external measures of success. They are also the path through which we achieve internal change and actually become someone new. They're the path through which we forge the identity that we have, the deepest beliefs we have about ourselves, our sense of self. And so if you can change your habits, you can change your life.
The keys to success have only been two. Number one, he said, decide exactly what it is you want and write it down and make a plan to achieve it. And number two is determine the price you're going to have to pay to get it, and then resolve to pay that price.
Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
Realists are not afraid to look at the harsh circumstances of life. They sharpen their eye by paying keen attention to details, to people's intentions, to the dark realities hiding behind any glamorous surface.
And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside.
You are more alone than you imagine. This should not be a source of fear, but of freedom. When you prove to yourself that you can get things on your own, then you experience a sense of liberation. You are no longer waiting for people to do this or that for you, a frustrating and infuriating experience. You have confidence that you can manage any adverse situation on your own. Think of it this way. Dependency is a habit that is so easy to acquire. We live in a culture that offers you all kinds of crutches, experts to turn to, drugs to cure any psychological unease, mild pleasures to help pass or kill time, jobs to keep you just above water. It is hard to resist. But once you give in, it is like a prison you enter that you cannot ever leave. You continually look outward for help, and this severely limits your options and maneuverability. When the time comes, as it inevitably does, when you must make an important decision, you have nothing inside of yourself to depend on.
But in the end, the most important thing is, what's the purpose of your life? Why are you here?
Is you got to jump. You got to take that gift that's packed away on your back. You got to jump off that cliff and pull that cord. You can play it safe and deal without the cuts and the tags. And you can stand on that cliff of life forever safe. But if you don't jump, I got another promise I can make you. Your parachute will never open. You'll never know.
You're gonna take a beat, you're gonna take this, you're gonna get knocked out, you're gonna get up, but you gotta work hard.
This 24 hours belongs to me. Right. And whatever I do in this 24 hours will determine where I'll be tomorrow and the next day. And I think that's what people need to focus on. Like, get off of this, I wanna make 6 figures, I wanna drive this car, I wanna live in this house. I think what people should be focusing on is, I have 24 hours. Like Oprah only has 24. Yeah. Bill Gates only has 24. Like Warren Buffett only has 24 hours. And in that 24-hour period, I can either break my life or make my life.
Strength isn't always about standing with a crowd. It's about standing alone when you have to. When the world gets quiet and it feels like no one sees your struggle, remember this. Every great warrior has faced battles alone. Use that solitude to grow, to focus, and to become unstoppable. You don't need anyone's approval to rise. Your strength is enough.
So listen to me, there are those of you who said, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be the best at this company, right? But your value system says you believe in sleep more than you believe in grinding. Your value system says you are a consumer and not a producer. That you're spending more money than you're making. Why? Because you're a consumer, but you're reading all the books and you're saying everything the books are saying, but those books are not in alignment with your value. And if you're gonna go to the next level, your values are gonna have to change.
Talent and good intentions are never enough in this world. You need to be fearless and strategic.
You're driven by your need to please others. If you're driven by your fear, if you're driven by your past, maybe it's time to free yourself. And the way to do it is decide. Decide consciously what you want your life to be about. Decide consciously what's the purpose of your life.
I will not go gently into that good night. I will rage against the dying of the light. I will practice random kindness and senseless acts of beauty, because minds are like parachutes and they only function when open. And Timothy Leary was right. In order to use your head, you've got to go out of your mind. controlling and mediating our attention. So if you are a wonder junkie, if you believe as Carl Sagan did that understanding is a kind of ecstasy, if you are hungry for the sublime, learn to control your attention. Learn to control your mind, your thoughts, because you created the linguistic choices, the very words you use to map your reality, feed back into your reality. You are the painting, you are the paintbrush, you are the canvas, you are the question, you are the answer to the question you are looking for. You are also, my friends, the question. You are everything. We are everything. We are sentient. We are consciousness, the most sublime, miraculous thing in the universe. So you better be having a good time and authoring your fate. Turn your life into a living, breathing work of art, because anything less would be a tragedy.
It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything.
Being alone isn't a weakness. It's a proving ground. It's where you discover what you're truly.
Because my beliefs have always been stronger than anyone's doubt. It's never about your setbacks. It's how you respond. The blows you take are fuel. The limitations people put on you are actually inspiration.
You want to become a master at overcoming hard moments. That is, to me, the sign of a champion. The best in the world are not the best because they win every point. It's because they know they'll lose again and again and have learned how to deal with it. You accept it, you move on, be relentless, adapt and grow, work harder, work smarter. Remember, work smarter.
You need to fucking work harder. You need to fucking discipline your mind better. And it starts off with you have to have pride in yourself. You have to be proud of yourself. We need to help people more than just saying it's okay. It's okay that you're not willing to fucking help yourself out. That's not okay. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. Even though it's your life, if that's acceptable, that's unacceptable. A lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
The man who never fell has no glory. The man who fell and got back up, that's where his glory is. The man who fell 20 times and got up 21 times, that man has even greater glory. Way more cursed than the guy who was so strong from birth that he never fell. There's no glory in that.
If you're struggling in life, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, whatever it may be, it's very easy to look at your life and just see chaos. It's very easy to look at your life and just feel the weight holding you down. So wherever you're at, no matter what your situation is, I want you to stop for a minute and understand this. You don't have control over what happens. You don't get to decide the outcome. But what you do have control over is what you do. And what you do influences the outcome. So what you need to do is sit down and decide, okay, what do I have control over? My effort, my attitude, my actions, who I spend my time with, who I don't spend my time with, the food I put in my body, the information I put in my brain. If all you do for the next 3 months is hammer down and focus on those things that you have control over and forget about the rest is going to take care of itself.
What if it turns out better than you expected? What if you can trust yourself to be able to handle it? And what if all those things you've been dreaming of are actually closer than you might realize?
The act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain, which is typically a record of the past, now becomes a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, the hardware begins to become a software program and you start behaving differently. And then if you can teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like, that means then you're not going to wait for your wealth to feel abundant or your success to feel empowered or your new relationship to feel love. In fact, the moment you start feeling abundant, you're generating wealth. The moment you start embracing empowerment, you're stepping towards your success. The moment you're in love with yourself and you're in love with life, you start creating equals in your life. Now that's causing an effect in your life.
Winning is a wonderful outcome. It's just not a great purpose. Your purpose for life should be rooted in who you are. So if your purpose is who you're becoming, it can't be shaken by wins or losses, failure or success. You should want to win. You should want to be the best. These are great aspirations, but they should be outcomes of the person that you're committed to becoming.
True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others and to grow and to make money, that desire, that itch, that's God's proof to you. Sit beforehand already to indicate that it's yours. And anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
That the journey is truly the reward. I may not be who I want to be today, but I know I can be better tomorrow, working towards who that person is to me. That's a choice for me. The wins and the losses, whether the games come and go, yes. Am I dedicated to my craft? Yes. Am I gonna make mistakes moving forward? Yes. Am I ever gonna be perfect? I'm just aware that you have to have laughter. You have to have fun in this. You have to smile. You cannot put too much pressure on yourself, because this one life to live.
But understand this, life is hard. No matter who you are, there are bumps and hits and bruises along the way. And my advice is to prepare yourself. The truth is, you don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it. No shortcuts.
Do you know how easy it is to stand out right now? Most people aren't even trying. We live in a day and age where the average individual is socially inept. They are so wrapped up in their own problems that they can't fathom providing value to anybody else. All you basically have to do to stand out amongst the rest is to try, to focus on your goals, take consistent action, and show up every single day trying to add value to people. That alone is far more than most people are doing. So many people are completely asleep at the wheel. So if you just have a little bit of grit, a little bit of work ethic, a little bit of hustle, you can gain such a competitive advantage over them. It is disgusting.
Those who can do, those who can't talk about those who can. Send that out. Those who can do, those who can't talk about those who can.
I just keep losing. I mean, some people just supposed to lose for balance in the universe. I mean, like are there just some people on Earth who are supposed to be here just to make it easier for the winners? Like really?
Resistance is a symptom of the way things are, not the way things necessarily should be. Actual victory belongs to things that simply do not see failure. Let the path push you like a broken branch in a river's current.
Well, the problem that most of us have is we think that we're all alone. We think that we're the only ones going through all this stuff. I thought it. Your vision becomes very narrowed. And what happened to me was, all I did was I peeled back. And I was able to get on top of a mountaintop in my head. And when you're high on that mountain, you have a great vantage point. And I was able to look down at the world. And all of us are jacked up. Some of us hide it better than others, but we're all jacked up. And once you realize that, you gotta come out of your shell. You gotta accept who you are. You gotta accept the demons that life gave you, that maybe you gave you. Whoever gave them to you, you gotta accept that. You gotta be able to look them in the mirror, look them in the eye and say, okay, I'm gonna start fixing these things. But if you think that you're by yourself, the reality of your life becomes very, very horrible. And you're not. We are all jacked up. And once you realize that, man, you don't even look at the crowd anymore. You look at your own race, you do your own race, you do your own thing, and you finally find out who you're supposed to be in this life.
If you are struggling to find fulfillment, please watch this. Not everything is going to make sense all the time. Not everything is going to feel right all the time. There is so much uncertainty that comes along with this journey, and we're not even 100% sure where we're going to end up. But that's not the point. If we were certain of these things, if we always performed at our best, if we never struggled, there would be no journey. You must shift your focus back to your process, because your process is your fulfillment. It is your rock, your constant. Stop trying to find fulfillment. Realize that it's yours if you want it.
The person who never needed to be told to do the right thing, to the person who has all the motivation in the world, the person who knows they will be successful. I'm sorry. I know your future ahead is an amazing one, but I also know your problems never had the luxury of relatability. Almost everyone in this world is an obstacle to themselves, but they sure have company in their struggle, while your struggle is a lonely road. You know it pays off. I don't even have to tell you that, but I promise you, I understand. You are relatable to those that'll do big things, and it is okay that that comes in small quantity.
But as you grow, you lose certain homies, because it's called closing the gap. This is the gap when we start. This is the gap as you grow. Notice how you grow and they don't. So how do you close the gap? You gotta come back down. When you come back down, you lose. So you gotta keep going up. That's why closing that gap gotta be them catching up to you. And if they don't catch up, you gotta leave them behind, because you getting to the point now where you gotta start cutting out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't look back when you cut them out. Because if they meant to be there, they're gonna be there.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It can mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It can mean freezing at a park bench. It can mean jail. It can mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
You can't see the proper light if you have never indulged in the very, very deepest dark times. It's not negative. It's just something that you usually don't want to dive into when something like this appears. But it's part of this life. There is no way to run around. So to embrace the darkness one and one, goes hand in hand with, on the other side, appreciating the light when it comes.
The life you want isn't out of reach. It's just outside your comfort zone. You can't build the life you want if you just keep clinging to the same old patterns. This journey is on you. Sometimes it's going to feel hard, maybe even pointless, but that's where perseverance kicks in. Push through the resistance, one day at a time, and watch what happens when you refuse to give up on yourself.
The Buddha says, being in a state of pain, anxiety, or in a state of suffering comes from attachment. When you're attached to things, attached to people, attached to identities, attached to philosophies, then you end up being in a situation where you experience pain. But you don't have to experience suffering if you live in a state of no expectation, where you're just living life, taking it day by day, step by step, and enjoying yourself. You always have the pain of comparison. It's easy to compare yourself in the age of the internet to other people. The pain of living in the future, right? The pain of what you could be, you should be, but you aren't. You can liberate yourself from a lot of these things by living in the present moment, by being here right now.
We may not be able to control everything in our outer world, but we certainly can control our inner world. And so it's not so important to not react. I mean, everybody reacts, I react. The question is, how long are you going to react? So if you keep an emotional reaction going on for an extended period of time, you're memorizing that emotion, and your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We become addicted to the very life we don't even like. So it's important then for people to realize then, when you have that moment where you have crisis or something breaks down, that you do have control over it, and it's a formula.
If you think that everything is too good to be true, you're going to be right 9 out of 10 times. The only issue is that 1 out of every 10 opportunity, that could be the one that could change your life. So optimists fail far more than cynics, but eventually they hit a home run. So always keep your guard up, protect yourself, be street smart, but never fully close yourself off to the fact that you might have a life-changing opportunity in front of you.
These are words to remember when anyone tries to tell you to give up, tell you to give in, because whatever you're trying to do is impossible. Impossible is just a word thrown around by small men who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. I'm here to say you will make mistakes along the way. You will fall down. I have, many times. But what we do after that fall is how we make history, because impossible is nothing.
If you look at the greats in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. Build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays.
It's risky is living your life and never trying for anything and never doing something brave and never getting yourself scared, and in a good way.
You know, if I see something, I see an opportunity, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We're all going to die one day. So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it.
A lot of people think they have all this time, so they f***ing waste it. And they never go out and do what they really set out to do or accomplish or do anything great in their life. You think when you're young that you have all this time. You have no time. There's no time. There is no tomorrow, you know? There is no tomorrow. That shit. Let's get all this done today.
contemplate the price you pay for inaction. So I think a lot of the time we presume that inaction has no cost, but it does. Inaction does have a cost because your attention is the most important thing that you have. So contemplate the price that you pay for inaction. It's a justification for you doing things sooner rather than later and committing.
Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. I do it now, do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command, do it now, do it now, do it now. The key to overcoming procrastination is to develop a sense of urgency. Be the kind of person who gets things done quickly. Be the kind of person who launches fast on a task. Say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now. Do you know that less than 2% of the population have a sense of urgency, and that there's not an example of a successful person anywhere who does not have a sense of urgency? That if you just develop a sense of urgency when somebody gives you a task, that you get on it and do it fast, that alone will move you into the top ranks in a very short period of time.
Why do you try to make them understand you when they don't even understand themselves? They judge your actions but don't even care to think about theirs. They criticize your every move while they blindly stumble around. You're trying to garner respect from the wrong people. It is apples and oranges. They view reality differently than you do. And every minute you spend trying to sell them on your dream is a minute you are not spending actually trying to achieve it.
When you're grateful, you can't be worried. You can't be fearful. When you're grateful, you can't be angry. And anger and fear are what screw people up most in their relationships, in their life, in their business. So I wire myself. I was saying to you that most people want to be happy, but their habit is to be worried or pissed off or frustrated or stressed. And so they've got a highway to stress and they got a dirt road to happiness.
One of my most powerful motivational frames is thinking about the person that I want to become as the destination. And thinking like, I want to be bulletproof. I want to be bulletproof in these ways. I want to be bulletproof in my marriage. I want to be bulletproof in my business, etc. And I think about that man, whoever I want him to be. Like we said, hell is when you look at who you could have been and realize that you're not that person. And then I think, if I were to make that man, what would I put that man through to make him who he is? Like, it wouldn't be easy times. It wouldn't be quick wins. It wouldn't even be easy wins. It would be the toil and the struggle of achieving and reaching for things that are right out of grasp. And so when I'm going through those like really harder times, I like to think of like looking in my mental mirror of like, I'm making you. I'm not there yet, but I'm making you.
If you had to do it all over again, would you make the same choices? What choice?
We can't run from who we are. Our destiny chooses us.
Fate, destiny. These words get thrown around like there's some kind of magic, like the universe has already laid out a perfect plan for your life, and all you have to do is wait for it to unfold. But let me tell you something. That's not how it works. Destiny isn't something that's handed to you. Fate isn't some predetermined path that's just waiting for you to stumble onto it. If you think it is, you'll spend your whole life waiting, hoping, wondering why things aren't happening for you. That's not destiny, that's passivity. And there's a big difference between the two. Your destiny, your real destiny, is out there. It exists, but it's not waiting for you. It's waiting on you, waiting for you to step up, waiting for you to take the first step, waiting for you to stop hoping that life will hand you something and start creating it for yourself. Here's the truth, and it might be hard to hear. The universe doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't owe you anything. It's not going to put success, meaning, or purpose into your hands just because you want it badly enough. If you want to chase your destiny, you have to be willing to fight for it. You have to be willing to bleed for it. You have to be willing to go to war with yourself for it. And yes, I said with yourself, because that's where the real battle is. It's not the world that's stopping you. It's not the obstacles, the competition, or the circumstances. It's you. It's the voice in your head that tells you, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're going to fail. It's the fear that keeps you small, the doubt that keeps you frozen, the excuses that keep you from taking the risks you know you need to take. But here's the thing about fate. It's not fixed. It's not rigid. It bends to those who are willing to act. It's forged by those who refuse to accept the life that's been handed to them, who refuse to settle for less than what they're capable of. Fate doesn't decide your future. You do. And let's be honest. Chasing your destiny is terrifying. It's uncomfortable. It's messy. Because to chase your dreams, to go after the life you want, you have to let go of the life you already have. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, to take risks, to fail. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. That's the price of destiny. That's the cost of greatness. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. Most people look at their dreams and think, that would be nice, but they're not willing to sacrifice for it. They're not willing to risk their comfort, their security, their ego. And so they stay where they are. They settle. They let their dreams die inside of them, slowly, quietly, until they convince themselves that they never really wanted them in the first place. But not you. Not if you're still listening. Because if you're still here, there's something inside you that refuses to settle. There's something inside you that knows you're meant for more. There's something inside you that's willing to fight for it, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you stumble, no matter how much it hurts. And let me tell you, it will hurt. Chasing your destiny will break you. It will push you to your limits. It will force you to confront every fear, every insecurity, every weakness you have. But that's the point. Because destiny isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you become in the process. It's about the strength you build, the resilience you forge, the person you create through the struggle. You have to understand something. The version of you that's sitting here right now, the version of you that's safe, that's scared, that's comfortable, that version of you cannot achieve your destiny. It's not capable of it. If you want to claim your fate, you have to let that version of yourself die. You have to shed the old you, the weak you, the you that's been holding yourself back. And that's hard. It's painful. Because growth is painful. Change is painful. But you know what's even more painful? Regret. Looking back on your life and realizing that you let fear win. Realizing that you had a chance to create something incredible, and you didn't take it. Realizing that you let the life you could have had slip through your fingers because you were too afraid to reach for it. Don't let that be your story. Don't let fear, doubt, or comfort keep you from chasing your dreams, because your destiny is out there. And yes, it's going to take everything you have to reach it. But isn't that the point? Isn't that what makes it worth it? Fate doesn't favor the passive. It doesn't reward the ones who sit and wait. Fate favors the bold, the ones who step into the fire, the ones who take risks, the ones who fail and rise and fail again, because they know that every failure is a step closer to their dreams. So, what are you waiting for? Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to tell you that you're ready. You'll never be ready. The stars will never align. The perfect time will never come. Your destiny isn't a gift. It's a challenge. It's a test. And the question is, are you willing to face it? Are you willing to do what it takes, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you fall? Because if you are, you're willing to step into the unknown, to fight for your dreams, to claim your fate, then there's nothing in this world that can stop you. Not the obstacles, not the failures, not the doubts. The only thing standing between you and your destiny is you. So stop waiting. Start moving. And don't stop until the life you've dreamed of is the life you're living. Your fate is yours to claim, so claim it.
My prayer for you is that you win the battle that no one knows about, because usually those are the toughest.
On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box it's comfortable. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown.
There ain't nothing you can do about what's gonna happen to you. You can't stop life from happening. You can do something about it. Life is 10% what happened to you, is 90% what you do about it. You got to stop tripping every time something happened to you like it's the end of the world. It ain't. Just change your mindset. If you change your attitude, you change your altitude.
To succeed, you gotta overcome your fears, battle your own greed, conquer your own demons, become unsure, second guess everything you believe in, survive through the suffering to figure out the meaning, and go hard to the moment you bring the cream in. You might lose sleep, but it's gonna feel like you're dreaming.
Like the process of self-improvement. At the end of the day, you gotta ask yourself the question, what fulfills you? Like winning and losing, cool, of course it bothers you emotionally, right? But when you put in work, when you prepare, when you give everything you got to something, the process of self-improvement, even if it doesn't go the way you want it to go, you still have something to hang on to, knowing that you put some pride into the process of it, right? Just the process of self-improvement. When you do things, you try your best to do it a certain way, right? It's not predicated upon outcome. I'm not doing it, like he said, because I'm trying to attain this. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to get this. I'm not doing it for this, because the moment you get into the for this, to get this, like you're gonna be on the emotional roller coaster. So every once in a while, man, I think you gotta pull your head up for a little bit of air and just ask yourself, man, like what is it that fulfills me when I'm chasing that dragon? You know what I'm saying? Fulfillment is a powerful thing.
Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you've made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes. But let the past be a school. Tough school maybe, we've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it for experience and let it teach you. Then next is how you feel about the future. We've got to have the future well designed. The future is called the promise.
Those racing thoughts you have, sleepless nights, the anxiety, it's all there for a reason. It's telling you something. It's telling you that you need to take action. All of those emotions are telling you that you're meant for more than this. So don't ignore it.
You know, don't allow the storms that come into your life to make you lose that gratitude, to make you lose the appreciation for waking up. Learn how to dance in the rain, dance through the storm, embrace the storms, right? Because these things that happen to us, right? Hard times, difficulties, obstacles, they're inevitable. So the best thing you can do is learn how to work with the flow of life rather than against it. You know, don't try to run away from the pain. Don't try to escape the obstacles that come into your life. No, learn how to embrace them head on. Learn how to go through them, because that's where growth happens.
Everyone's just looking out for themselves, and that's okay. But it's time for you to start prioritizing yourself too. Trust that things will fall into place and that everything will work out for the best. You've overcome a lot through this journey and stayed hopeful even when things felt impossible. It's okay to be selfish too. It's your turn now. to get what you deserve.
You're not really enjoying, while you pursue the goal, whatever it is in your life, if you're not really enjoying the doing because you are so focused on becoming and achieving and arriving at this future point, that the enjoyment of the doing is so greatly diminished or disappears completely because all you want to do is arrive, but you're not there yet.
I can't handle not knowing. I can't handle not finding out. I don't want to not find out. The not knowing will drive me crazy. The wondering what if. What was I going to be embarrassed of failure? Going to be ashamed of losing? I mean, those are already two things that when I just say them, if I hear somebody else say that to me, I'm reaching out going, no, dude, feel more. No, don't be ashamed. Screw up. Find out.
Number one, you have to stop regretting the past. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't forget the past. You can learn from it and get better from it so you don't make the same mistakes, but you got to stop regretting the past. Number two is stop worrying about the future. Psychologists have found that 85% of what you worry about on a daily basis will never happen. That's a waste of your energy. That's a waste of your time. And then number three, stop looking for your happiness in other people. Other people cannot make you happy. It is absolutely impossible.
When you form a partnership, you make one decision. My decision is to be great. My decision is to be unstoppable. My decision is to win. My decision is to whatever it may be. Then after you make that decision, you got to commit to it. How many times have you talked yourself out of the commitment? You talked yourself out of the commitment.
It's not a bad thing to be unique. It's not a bad thing to be different. Not a bad thing to be comfortable with yourself, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing.